So are you religious?
I would say I'm an atheist, and I have been since I was in my late teenage years, but I still bring my children to church. They don't know that I'm an atheist. I take them to church and I raise them with religion because while we made this progress forward,
Hmm.
we didn't really put any morality in its place. We decided that religion wasn't true, it wasn't necessary, but I want my children to get traditional values, and as an atheist, there's no place to
Right,
go,
I agree.
you
You
know?
are culturally Christian. Someone told me that,
Yes.
and I had to agree with them. Yes, there is no place for atheists to go to get this type of moral instilling. And for our generation, we got it from the church because our parents were religious. But
Hmm.
we grew up in the age of probably a little bit more information and then the internet and stuff. So sure, we turned out to be not religious, to be atheists, but at the same time, if you respect, as how you put it, if you respect the culture that our ancestors created and were a part of, you can respect the knowledge. And Christianity and religion is just a window into that knowledge. So
Hmm.
not everything will be applicable, not everything came from the same place, but it will tell you some of the rules that worked. It'll have some of the messages that worked, and it'll have some of
Hmm.
the direction to say this is not okay, this is okay, this is, yeah, they're and you see, because we're not always going to know how to act in society and so on. So some sort of guidance is helpful. And now, with the internet being our religion, with the internet being our Bible, we are turning to the internet for information about how to live. And that's what our children have. They have the Bible of Google, right?
Hmm.
And it's extremely chaotic and very difficult to find answers. And of course, there's some good in that, because the truth is there are no clear answers. But some sort of guidance, especially the type that we grew up with, was helpful in my life. I just
Yes.
did the normal traditional thing. I got married, had kids. I didn't, fight the culture. And I feel like it turned out okay, you know. Um and I think it's not bad to have that type of guidance.
Right. Yeah. Especially, in this day and age where so many people are so misguided from what they find on the internet, I'm thinking, you know, from about my grandchildren. That's how far ahead I'm thinking. I want my children to find a quality spouse,
Hmm.
and for that spouse to have values, and that I'm trying to think ahead, and
Hmm.
that's part of the reason that I have my children going to church and many
Right.
volunteer
I
community
really I really
activities.
hope and believe that the idea of like cultural Christianity becomes a thing, because I
Yeah.
know that in the future people are going to reject religion, which they are doing, of course, in
Hmm.
some ways, because it's very hard to believe like stories from the Bible, Noah and the Ark and stuff. It's just a culture. But I hope that some people come together and say, okay, maybe this is all just a story, but it's a culture, and
Yeah.
there's value in the beliefs, whether it's true or not, whether you believe in this story or that story, or whether you believe in God or not, whether you believe in anything, whatever you believe in, there's value in that. Humans need this type of psychological help and these concepts, and that we need this. And also that meeting often with the people in your community to talk about how to live is something valuable.
Right.
Like the community of the church is something valuable and stuff like this. But I know a lot of people will not, maybe feel they don't need that. So there are a lot of people who will say, "Oh, that looks like crazy." So I don't know, but I don't take my children to church. I'm not a part of a church or anything, but I understand this concept of cultural Christianity,
Hmm.
culturally religious. It's not about believing in God or not. It's just about the culture that you grew up in being important to you and having value.
Yes.
and you want to pass that on to your children, those cultural norms and those because they're not harmful really. Some parts of it were maybe, some parts of it, I always go back to LGBTQ hatred or something. Some parts of it were terrible, but we can change the culture without throwing it away.
Right.
You know,
right.
Yeah.